Here is something nobody wants to admit. The smarter you are, the more stuck you probably are. Not because intelligence is bad, but because a high IQ gives you a superpower that most people never talk about. The ability to build an incredibly sophisticated cage for yourself and convince yourself it's a palace. Today we are going to talk about why smart people stay stuck. Not just stuck, uniquely stuck, in ways that average performers never experience. And more importantly, we are going to talk about how to break free. Because this is not about working harder. You already know how to work hard. This is about the hidden mental architecture that is quietly running your life without your permission. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. You have probably met someone who is clearly brilliant and clearly going nowhere. Maybe that person is you. They have the ideas. They have the knowledge. They understand the theory better than anyone in the room. And yet, nothing moves. Nothing gets finished. Nothing gets launched. This is not laziness. This is something much more elegant and much more dangerous. Psychologist Steven Berglas at Harvard identified it in 1978. He called it self-handicapping. And it might be the most important concept you learn this year. Self-handicapping is when you deliberately create obstacles for yourself before a high-stakes performance. Not consciously, not maliciously, but your brain does it, because it is protecting your self-image. Here is how it works. Imagine you are smart. You have always been told you are smart. That identity, smart person, becomes the thing you protect above everything else. Now imagine you try something and fail. That failure does not just sting. It threatens the core story you tell about yourself. So your brain offers you a deal. It says, what if we do not fully try? What if we stay up too late the night before? What if we tell everyone how little time we had? What if we pick the worst possible moment to start? Then, if we fail, it was not because we are not smart. It was because of the circumstances. And if we somehow succeed despite all that? Well, we are obviously a genius. This is self-handicapping. It is elegant. It is insidious. And it is almost exclusive to people who consider intelligence a core part of their identity. Studies show that people who believe intelligence is fixed, a thing you either have or you do not, are far more likely to self-handicap. This connects directly to Carol Dweck's landmark research on fixed versus growth mindset at Stanford. When your intelligence feels like a finite resource you were born with, you spend all your energy protecting it rather than using it. Smart people protect their self-image so aggressively that they never actually test it. Now, layer in something else. Something that makes this even more complicated. Imposter syndrome. You have heard of it, but you probably do not understand how deeply it connects to self-handicapping. Most people think imposter syndrome is just feeling like a fraud, like you fooled everyone, like they are about to find out you are not as capable as they think. But here is what the research actually shows. Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes, who named the phenomenon in 1978, found that it is most common in high achievers, not low performers, not people who are actually incompetent. The people most likely to feel like frauds are the people who are objectively performing at the highest levels. Why? Because smart people notice their own uncertainty more. They see the complexity in every problem. They know what they do not know. And that awareness, which is actually a sign of genuine intelligence, gets misread by their own brain as evidence of inadequacy. So you have this devastating combination. Self-handicapping on one side, saying, do not fully try, protect your identity. Imposter syndrome on the other, saying, even when you succeed, it does not count. You just got lucky. Together they form a closed loop, a system designed to keep you exactly where you are. You sabotage before the attempt, you discount after the success, and you wonder why nothing changes. This is not a character flaw. This is a cognitive trap. And the smarter you are, the more sophisticated the trap. Now let's talk about perfectionism, because this is where it gets really uncomfortable. Most people think perfectionism is about having high standards. It is not. Not the kind we are talking about. Clinical psychologist Gordon Flett has spent decades studying what he calls maladaptive perfectionism. And his research shows that for high achievers, perfectionism is almost always a form of avoidance. You are not perfecting your work. You are postponing the moment when the world gets to judge it. The plan that never gets executed. The book that never gets submitted. The business idea that stays in your notes app for 3 years. It feels like preparation. It is procrastination. Your brain knows that an unfinished thing cannot fail. A draft cannot be rejected. An idea that never leaves your head cannot be criticized. So it keeps you in the preparation phase. Forever. Because preparation feels safe, and shipping feels terrifying. And here is the neuroscience underneath all of this. Your threat response, the amygdala firing up, the cortisol flooding your system, does not distinguish between physical danger and social judgment. Your brain processes the fear of being seen as not smart with the same neural machinery it uses to process being chased by something that wants to eat you. So when you are about to publish the article, or send the pitch, or raise your hand in the meeting, your brain genuinely believes you are in danger, and it pulls the emergency brake. It calls this protection. You call it procrastination. Same thing. Okay, now the part that actually matters. How do you break this loop? Because knowing the theory is satisfying, but it is also another form of self-handicapping if you stop there. Step 1. Separate your identity from your output. This is the foundational move. You need to consciously decouple "I am smart" from "this project succeeds." The way you do this is by shifting your self-definition from a noun to a verb. Not, "I am a smart person," but, "I am someone who does hard things." Not, "I am talented," but, "I am someone who ships." Talent is a noun. It is static. It either holds up or it does not. Doing is a verb. It is always happening. It cannot be disproven by a single failure. Dweck's research shows this shift alone measurably changes performance under pressure. You are not protecting a fixed resource anymore. You are building a renewable one. Step 2. Make failure cheap and fast. Self-handicapping thrives in high-stakes environments. The higher the stakes, the more elaborate the sabotage. So you systematically lower the stakes of your experiments. Instead of writing the novel, write a terrible first chapter this week. Instead of launching the business, have 3 conversations with potential customers by Friday. Instead of perfecting the pitch, send the rough version to one person you trust. The goal is not to lower your standards. The goal is to make the feedback loop short. Fast failure destroys the power of perfectionism. You cannot endlessly prepare if you have already started. Step 3. Name the trap out loud. This sounds almost insultingly simple, but research on metacognition, which is just thinking about your own thinking, shows that labeling a cognitive pattern while it is happening reduces its power over you, literally reduces the amygdala activation. So when you catch yourself reorganizing your desk instead of starting the project, say it out loud. I am self-handicapping right now. I am creating a condition so that failure has an excuse. You do not have to fix it immediately. Just name it. Naming it creates distance between you and the behavior, and distance is where choice lives. Step 4. Audit your success story. For imposter syndrome specifically, every time you dismiss a win as luck or timing or other people doing the heavy lifting, write it down. The actual facts of what happened, what you did, what decision you made, what you shipped. You are not doing this to become arrogant. You are doing it to correct a systematic bias in your brain's accounting system. Your brain currently keeps a running tally of every failure and every near miss, but it processes success as an anomaly. You are manually rebalancing the ledger. Over time, and this is backed by the research on attribution theory going back to Bernard Wiener's work in the 1970s, your brain begins to update its model of what you are capable of. Not because you convinced yourself with affirmations, but because you gave it actual data. Here is what I want to leave you with. The trap is real. The neuroscience is real. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are someone who got very good at protecting something that did not need protecting. Your intelligence is not a trophy in a case. It is a tool. Tools are supposed to get scratched. They are supposed to get used until the handle wears down. That is how you know they did something. The smartest move you can make right now is to do the thing you have been preparing to do. Not perfectly, not when the time is right, not when you feel ready. Right now, with what you have, in the condition you are in. Because the version of you that stays stuck, waiting for perfect conditions, is not the smart one. The smart one ships. If this hit something real for you, leave a comment below. Tell me one thing you have been preparing for too long. Then subscribe. Next week, we are going into the neuroscience of confidence, why it works backwards from what you think. You do not build confidence and then take action. You take action and then you build confidence. That video could change how you operate. Do not miss it.